The stars above Earth had always been a symbol of mystery, a vast ocean of endless possibilities. But that night, as the Earth's government scrambled to decipher an unexpected transmission, the stars seemed a bit closer, a bit more threatening. The Galactic Council's message was chilling, cold, and unmistakably clear. Their words echoed through every communication network on Earth, from television broadcasts to encrypted government channels. It began with a deep, resonant voice, speaking in a language no human had ever heard, yet somehow every word was understood. The message was universal, delivered to every human on the planet simultaneously. "We are the Galactic Council," the voice began, "a coalition of the most advanced civilizations in the known galaxy. After careful analysis, we have determined that your species is a threat to the galactic order. Your rapid technological progress and expansion into space have been noted, and your potential to disrupt the balance of power is now clear. As such, we demand your immediate surrender. Failure to comply will result in the full force of the Council's might being unleashed upon your world." The message continued with stark imagery of alien warships, gleaming ships of unimaginable size and firepower, hovering above Earth. The screen displayed a terrifying array of weapons, capable of reducing cities to rubble with a single shot. It was a calculated show of force, designed to instill fear. And, for a moment, it worked. Around the world, governments scrambled to assess the authenticity of the threat. Were these real aliens, or was this some kind of elaborate hoax? Some nations reacted with fear, their leaders debating emergency plans and military readiness. Panic set in, but then something unexpected happened. A wave of disbelief rippled through the human population. Rather than panicking, people across the globe began to laugh. It wasn't the response the Galactic Council had anticipated. The idea of an alien race, whose very existence had been an abstract notion for most humans, demanding Earth's surrender felt absurd. Surrender. To them, humanity had endured centuries of war, pestilence, and natural disaster. They had fought empires, overthrown tyrants, and conquered their own hostile environment. Now, when the stakes were even higher, they were being asked to simply bow down to some distant galactic collective. Earth didn't know who these aliens were or what their so-called Galactic Council even represented, but one thing was certain: humanity had never been good at surrendering. And this time would be no different. Governments debated in urgency, but the mood among the people remained defiantly indifferent. Social media buzzed with memes and jokes mocking the alien threat. People cracked jokes about the space invaders, saying Earth would put up a better fight than anyone could imagine. On the streets of New York, Paris, Beijing, and every corner of the world, crowds gathered and cheered, some in bewilderment, others in pride. Humanity was not afraid. The leaders of Earth's nations quickly understood that the Council's message would not work as intended. The world was unified, not in fear, but in a shared sense of humor and, more importantly, defiance. If these aliens thought they could simply stroll in and dictate terms, they were in for a surprise. Earth was no stranger to fighting against impossible odds. And this time, it was no different. At that moment, the decision was made. Earth was not going to surrender. They were going to fight. While the Galactic Council's ultimatum echoed through the world, the average person had no idea of the hidden depths of Earth's strength. To the alien leaders, humanity was a young, impulsive species, barely scraping the surface of space travel, with primitive technologies and a history of self-inflicted conflict. They had no idea how wrong they were. The truth was, humanity's strength wasn't just in its technological advancements, but in its ability to adapt, to survive, and to rise to the challenge when it seemed insurmountable. Earth's history was a tapestry of wars fought against overwhelming odds, of survival against nature's wrath, and of breakthroughs born out of necessity. Long before the Council ever cast their gaze on Earth, the planet had been shaped by conflict. Humanity had survived multiple world wars, each more devastating than the last, yet each time they rebuilt. From the ashes of destruction, they rose. The great wars of the 20th century had pushed human innovation to its limits. The cold, relentless arms race between rival superpowers gave birth to astonishing technological advancements, unseen by the majority of the world's population. What the Council didn't know was that Earth's most powerful weapon wasn't a specific invention, but the drive and resilience of its people. Governments, throughout history, had spent years secretly developing technologies not for conquest, but for survival. Humanity, always looking over its shoulder, had built an arsenal of secret technologies, weapons, and contingencies, ready for any unforeseen threat, whether it came from a neighboring country or a distant star system. In underground bunkers and hidden laboratories, humanity had spent decades reverse engineering alien artifacts, salvaged during early space exploration missions. The first encounters with alien civilizations had been disastrous for Earth's fledgling space programs. But rather than retreating in fear, humanity studied and learned. They understood the value of knowledge, and over time, this knowledge gave them an unexpected advantage. Alien technology, once a symbol of awe and fear, became a stepping stone for Earth scientists to build upon. It wasn't just about defense. It was about adapting what had been considered superior and making it their own. But it wasn't just technology that set humanity apart. It was the sheer ingenuity of its people. Earth's finest minds were brilliant in ways that were often unconventional. Scientists, engineers, and military tacticians had learned how to turn the simplest tools into weapons of unparalleled precision. A group of university researchers could design a solution to an unsolvable problem in hours. A team of engineers could transform an old warship into a cutting-edge fleet vessel. Earth's ability to innovate under pressure was legendary. The public was unaware of the full scale of Earth's preparations. The mass hysteria over the Galactic Council's message quickly turned to disbelief, followed by a newfound sense of determination. Across the world, from the capitals of power to the smallest rural villages, a united front began to take shape. It wasn't just the governments that were preparing. It was the people. Farmers, engineers, factory workers, all were suddenly aware that the future of the planet rested on their shoulders. Humanity's deep-seated distrust of authority, the result of centuries of rebellion against oppression, suddenly became their greatest strength. They had no intention of being dictated to by any power, no matter how vast. It was this spirit, the unyielding, rebellious drive, that had shaped the human race time and time again. It was a spirit the Galactic Council would soon come to regret underestimating. And as Earth readied itself for war, it was clear. This was no longer a matter of mere survival. This was about proving that humanity, with all its flaws and imperfections, was a force to be reckoned with. The Council had made a grave mistake in underestimating Earth's resolve. They had no idea what was coming. It wasn't long before the Galactic Council's ultimatum transformed from a mere message to a real, tangible threat. Within days, the skies over Earth began to change. Strange lights appeared in the atmosphere, followed by the arrival of colossal ships, sleek, angular vessels that dwarfed anything humanity had ever seen. The first wave of alien warships arrived in Earth's orbit, an intimidating display of power. Their metal surfaces gleamed under the sun, reflecting the terrifying magnitude of the threat. The alien ships, each larger than the most powerful warships in Earth's arsenal, floated in place, unmoving, as if to remind humanity of their inferiority. The first wave was just the beginning. Hundreds, then thousands of these ships spread across the globe, each one carrying enough weaponry to wipe out entire nations with a single strike. Earth's global defense systems scrambled to react, but no one knew what kind of technology they were facing. Communications went dark as military satellites began to malfunction, and Earth's defenses appeared helpless in the face of the incomprehensible might of the galactic fleet. Despite the overwhelming display of force, something peculiar began to happen. Rather than yielding, Earth's people were filled with a sense of clarity and unity. Governments that had once been fragmented began to work together in ways they never had before. Nations that once stood divided, bickering over borders and resources, found themselves now united under a single banner: survival. A feeling of purpose swept across the planet, and for the first time in centuries, humanity was truly united in a cause that transcended borders and differences. The military scrambled to deploy Earth's best resources, but the question remained: what could they possibly do against an enemy so powerful? The answer lay in humanity's greatest strength: their adaptability. In the control centers of military bases around the world, engineers worked frantically to decipher the alien technology. The reverse engineering of recovered alien artifacts, shipped back from the early space missions, became the focus of frantic efforts. What humanity had only understood in theory was now put to the test. They weren't just going to sit back and be wiped out. They were going to fight back, and they were going to do it with everything they had. It was then that Earth's first line of defense showed its teeth. Military strategists had been secretly working on contingency plans for years, preparing for an event like this. Though Earth's forces couldn't match the alien ships in raw power, they knew the enemy had one major vulnerability: arrogance. The aliens were expecting a planet of terrified civilians, one that would surrender at the first sign of danger. What they didn't realize was that humanity's greatest weapon was its ability to think beyond the conventional. A coordinated strike was launched, a combination of Earth's best aerial fighters, modified spacecraft, and cutting-edge weaponry designed using reverse-engineered technology. The alien ships, confident in their superiority, didn't see it coming. Earth's fighters swarmed the skies, launching precision strikes against weak points in the alien ship's armor. A shockwave of destruction rippled through the alien fleet as their high-tech shields were bypassed by the ingenuity of Earth's forces. Despite the shock of this unexpected resistance, the first engagement came to an end in a draw. The alien ships remained in orbit, seemingly invulnerable to Earth's best attacks, but they had underestimated Earth's drive, and more importantly, its ability to improvise in the face of overwhelming adversity. Earth had sent a message, loud and clear: they were not going down without a fight. In the aftermath of the battle, the people of Earth didn't retreat. They stood tall, unified in the knowledge that they had faced the impossible and held their ground. The aliens had seen humanity's strength, but they didn't yet understand the full extent of what Earth could do. This was only the beginning. As the first wave of battle raged on, Earth's leaders were forced to make a startling realization. Conventional tactics and the sheer power of Earth's combined forces weren't enough to defeat the Galactic Council. While humanity had held its ground in the initial encounters, the alien ships remained largely unharmed by Earth's weapons. They were too advanced, too prepared for everything Earth had thrown at them. If Earth was to survive, they would need a new approach. Behind closed doors, in classified underground bunkers and hidden laboratories, a small group of Earth's top scientists and military strategists began to work on a last-ditch plan. Earth's secret weapons had remained hidden for decades, buried deep within military installations and research facilities. These were not mere experiments. They were humanity's true trump cards, created not just to defend, but to ensure their continued survival in the face of any existential threat. What the Galactic Council didn't know, and what they would soon regret, was that humanity had long been aware of the possibility of an alien encounter. It wasn't an entirely foreign concept. Early space explorations had uncovered artifacts and strange signals, and there were whispers among Earth's scientific community about alien technologies. But rather than making these discoveries public, humanity's leaders had taken a more pragmatic approach. They'd studied the artifacts in secret, reverse engineering them to create an arsenal of technology that, for all intents and purposes, made Earth appear far more technologically advanced than the Galactic Council realized. Inside the darkened corridors of a hidden research facility, a team of engineers studied the remains of a mysterious alien vessel recovered from a crash site in the Arctic. The ship, though far more advanced than any human technology, contained critical blueprints that allowed humanity to understand advanced energy systems, shield technologies, and even weaponry. The breakthrough came when the team realized how the alien ships maintained their power systems, using a fusion process humanity had only dreamed of. Using this knowledge, they were able to develop a new class of weapons, energy shields, and even spacecraft that could rival the Council's own technology. At the same time, Earth's military forces, with the help of a coalition of engineers, began to upgrade their existing fleets. They adapted old warships and modified them with the newfound alien tech. What was once considered an outdated vessel was now an upgraded warship, armed with hybrid weapons capable of piercing the aliens' once impenetrable shields. The human forces also developed a new breed of fighter craft, small yet agile, designed to outmaneuver the larger alien ships and exploit their weaknesses. The technological gap had closed. The most remarkable breakthrough, however, came in the form of a powerful new form of communication, one that allowed humans to hack into the Council's network, briefly taking control of alien systems. While Earth couldn't fully penetrate the Council's defenses, they had successfully crippled the communication networks of several alien fleets, causing confusion and delays in their coordinated attacks. Earth's leaders, once scrambling for answers, now saw a glimmer of hope. They had done the impossible. They had turned the tide, gaining access to the very technology that the Galactic Council had believed was their exclusive domain. No longer was Earth a small, defenseless world. It had become a formidable power, ready to challenge the galaxy's greatest threat. The Galactic Council, still secure in their arrogance, had no idea what was coming. They believed Earth to be a mere nuisance, but what they hadn't accounted for was the boundless resourcefulness of humanity. The battle had only just begun. The Galactic Council's overconfidence had begun to fade. What they had initially dismissed as a fleeting resistance was now becoming a real, tangible threat. Earth had not only held its own, but was now taking the fight to the stars. The first few victories had been hard-won, yet they were enough to signal to the Council that their dominance was slipping. Human ingenuity had always been underestimated by the galaxy's more advanced civilizations, but now Earth was demonstrating something even more dangerous: adaptability. It was a trait that had served humanity well throughout its history, from the jungles of ancient Earth to the battlegrounds of the world wars. Humans could learn, improve, and innovate faster than any alien race had anticipated. Underneath the surface of Earth's battlefront, military strategists and engineers were working overtime to develop new tactics. They had already begun modifying their fleet, integrating the alien tech that had been reverse-engineered. The older, more traditional warships, once viewed as obsolete, were retooled with hybrid systems: laser cannons powered by alien energy sources, shields capable of absorbing and reflecting enemy fire, and cloaking systems that allowed Earth's fleet to strike with precision and disappear before the enemy could respond. The new ships were fast, deadly, and incredibly efficient. Earth's forces weren't just fighting, they were evolving, turning each encounter into an opportunity for improvement. Alien weaknesses were identified in real time, and countermeasures were developed on the fly. A fleet of Earth-designed stealth bombers appeared from nowhere in a daring strike on an alien command ship. The attack took the Council by surprise, crippling their communications and causing a ripple of chaos in the alien ranks. Meanwhile, Earth's growing space fleet, now bolstered with advanced technology and new tactics, began making strikes deep into Council territory. The humans had gained access to Council comms channels, allowing them to disrupt enemy operations, jam transmissions, and even send misinformation, creating confusion and fear among the alien forces. While the Council's generals tried to reassert control, their leadership was being undermined by the very humans they had once dismissed as nothing more than a primitive nuisance. The tides were turning. For every ship Earth lost, they built 2 more, learning from their failures and adapting even faster. Humans weren't just playing defense anymore. They were becoming offensive, striking at weak points in the Council's vast, sprawling empire. Earth's relentless assaults against alien supply lines, military bases, and resource planets began to cripple the Council's war effort. The galaxy's largest alliance, once seen as an unbreakable force, was faltering under the weight of 1,000 human-driven disruptions. As Earth's forces pushed further into alien space, the Galactic Council's unity began to fracture. There were whispers among the alien leaders. Some feared that they were losing control, while others questioned whether the war was worth the cost. Earth's resilience had become a symbol of defiance that inspired planets once under Council rule to reconsider their alliances. In the face of humanity's strength, the unthinkable was starting to happen. Defections. A once unstoppable alliance of alien species was now teetering on the brink of collapse, and the idea of a unified galaxy began to crumble. Earth's aggressive tactics, fueled by relentless innovation and a refusal to yield, were making the impossible seem possible. The Galactic Council, once confident in their ability to quash Earth's resistance, was now on the defensive. It was clear that Earth had shifted the balance of power. The Council had failed to break humanity's spirit, and now, with every victory, Earth's reputation grew. The galaxy had underestimated humanity's ability to survive, to fight, and to adapt. But it wasn't just about winning battles anymore. It was about reshaping the very fabric of the galaxy itself. The Galactic Council's greatest mistake had been underestimating Earth. Now, the consequences of that mistake were becoming clear. The once proud alien alliance that spanned hundreds of planets was beginning to unravel. What had started as a demand for humanity's surrender had turned into an all-out war, one that Earth was not only surviving, but winning. The Council, once united in their belief of superiority, now found themselves divided. Several factions within their ranks began questioning their strategy and leadership. Rumors spread of alien species questioning the validity of the war. Some even began to see humanity's resilience as something worthy of admiration, rather than extermination. But the Council's leaders, unwilling to accept failure, doubled down on their efforts to crush Earth. In the heart of Earth's capital, world leaders gathered in secret meetings, discussing the next phase of the war. It was no longer a question of how to survive. It was about how to end this once and for all. Earth's military had done the impossible, but the question of whether they could finish the job loomed large. To defeat the Galactic Council, humanity would need to strike at the heart of the alien empire, at the core of their power. Using their hacked communication channels, Earth's elite strike teams gathered intelligence on the Council's most vulnerable target, the Central Command Nexus, the seat of power for the entire alliance. It was said to be a heavily fortified world, surrounded by the most advanced defenses in the galaxy. To reach it would require a level of coordination and planning humanity had never attempted before. But the military leaders knew that this was their chance. If Earth could cripple the Council's ability to command, they could dismantle the entire alliance. The plan was bold, dangerous, and nearly impossible. But humanity had never shied away from impossible odds. Meanwhile, on the battlefield, the once imposing alien fleets were now showing signs of disarray. Earth's fleet, emboldened by their past successes, continued to press the attack. A series of guerrilla strikes against alien supply lines had decimated the Council's resources, forcing them to divert more of their forces to defend their borders. Earth's forces now controlled key sectors of alien space, and planets that had once been under Council rule had begun to resist. Some had even declared their independence, inspired by the example Earth had set. These defections, though small, were enough to cause concern among the alien leadership. But the Council was not willing to give up. They had a weapon, something that could potentially turn the tide of the war. The weapon, however, was still a closely guarded secret. Few knew about it, and fewer still understood its true potential. On Earth, the countdown to the final confrontation had begun. Every moment brought them closer to the ultimate battle. The people of Earth, once filled with fear and uncertainty, now rallied behind their leaders with a shared conviction. It wasn't just a fight for survival anymore. It was a fight for freedom, for the right to determine their own future. As Earth's forces gathered for their most daring mission yet, the Galactic Council prepared their own counterstrike, one that would either crush humanity's rebellion or solidify its place in the galaxy's future. The battle for the fate of the galaxy was about to reach its climax. The countdown had reached its final hours. Earth's forces, now united in purpose, were preparing for the mission of a lifetime. A final strike at the heart of the Galactic Council was all that remained between them and victory. The planet where the central command nexus was located, Arcanus Prime, was a fortress unlike any other. A heavily guarded world, surrounded by an impenetrable fleet and vast defenses, it was home to the most powerful beings in the galaxy. This was where the future of Earth would either be decided or destroyed. The leadership of Earth's military knew that this mission would be humanity's greatest test. The alien fleets had begun to regroup, their remaining strength concentrated around Arcanus Prime. But Earth was not alone in this fight. Alien worlds that had once been under the Council's iron grip had begun to align with humanity. Some were ready to lend their ships, while others offered intelligence, resources, and their own fleets to ensure the downfall of the Galactic Council. The rebellion had grown, and now, with allies in tow, Earth would launch its most audacious strike yet. The mission, led by Admiral Cara Donovan, was a blend of cunning and sheer force. The first phase would involve Earth's elite fleet using the newly developed stealth capabilities to infiltrate the outer defenses of Arcanus Prime. They would launch a series of surgical strikes designed to dismantle the planetary shields and weaken the alien fleet. The second phase would be a full assault on the planet's core, taking the battle directly to the heart of the Galactic Council. A strike team of Earth's finest soldiers and engineers would infiltrate the central command nexus and target its power source. It was there, deep in the heart of the facility, where the secret weapon of the Council had been kept. The Singularity Engine. The Singularity Engine, a weapon of unimaginable power, was capable of ripping entire planets apart. If activated, it could collapse the fabric of space itself, wiping out entire systems in an instant. The Council had kept it as a last resort, a weapon designed to ensure that no rebellion could ever threaten their dominance. But Earth had learned of its existence, and now the goal was clear: disable the engine before the Council could use it against them. Admiral Donovan stood before her crew, the weight of the mission pressing on her shoulders. "This is it," she said, her voice steady but resolute. "We fought for this moment, and we're going to take it. For our planet, for every world that has stood with us. We're not just fighting for survival. We're fighting for the freedom of every sentient species in this galaxy. Let's make it count." As the Earth fleet moved into position, the final phase of preparation began. The crew members worked in perfect synchronization, coordinating every maneuver with precision. The air was thick with anticipation. Earth had come so far, and now they were on the verge of finishing what they had started. The Galactic Council had underestimated them from the start, but now, at the brink of their final stand, humanity's determination was unwavering. Just as the Earth fleet approached the planet's outer defenses, something unexpected happened. The Council, realizing they were on the brink of collapse, activated the Singularity Engine prematurely. The device hummed to life, sending tremors through the surrounding space as the very fabric of reality seemed to warp. The countdown had begun. If Earth didn't act fast, they could lose everything. The countdown to the Singularity Engine's activation echoed through the minds of every soldier, scientist, and commander involved in the mission. The stakes had never been higher. If Earth's forces failed to stop the engine, the galaxy itself would be torn apart. Time was slipping away, and the entire operation hinged on a single fragile thread. Admiral Donovan's fleet had broken through Arcanus Prime's outer defenses, but the alien fleet was waiting. They had anticipated the attack, and now Earth's ships were surrounded by the Council's most formidable forces. The battle raged fiercely in the vacuum of space as laser fire streaked through the darkness and explosions rocked the battlefield. But Earth's ships, equipped with their newly adapted hybrid technology and battle-tested strategies, fought with precision and ferocity. They weren't just defending. They were attacking, relentlessly pushing forward with every strike. Inside the heart of Arcanus Prime, Earth's strike teams infiltrated the Central Command Nexus. Using their modified stealth suits and hacking tech, they bypassed the most sophisticated security measures ever created. Deep within the facility, they'd reached the Singularity Engine, where they were met by the Council's final line of defense. An elite group of alien commanders, each armed with weapons that could obliterate any human on sight. The battle inside the Nexus was brutal, but humanity's resolve was unshakable. Soldiers moved with tactical brilliance, using their surroundings to gain the upper hand. Engineers worked furiously, pulling apart the alien systems and rerouting power to disable the Singularity Engine. With every moment, the danger of the engine's full activation drew closer. Earth's forces couldn't afford to lose. Meanwhile, Admiral Donovan's fleet fought to hold off the Council's warships, buying precious time for the ground team. The fleet's mission was clear. They had to create a diversion powerful enough to prevent the enemy from focusing on the strike teams. Each of Earth's ships, led by Donovan's flagship, weaved through enemy fire, launching salvo after salvo to keep the alien forces distracted. The battle was a dance of fire and smoke, where one wrong move could spell disaster. Back in the heart of the Nexus, Earth's engineers had made a breakthrough. Using the alien tech they had stolen and adapted, they managed to override the Singularity Engine's systems, just moments before it would have reached critical mass. The device, instead of collapsing space itself, was now their weapon. With a single command, the Singularity Engine powered down, its immense energy redirected into a containment field that trapped it, rendering it useless. The threat was gone, but the battle was not yet over. The Council's leaders, furious and desperate, unleashed their final assault. The alien fleet closed in, preparing to obliterate Earth's ships and reclaim control of Arcanus Prime. Yet despite the overwhelming odds, Earth's forces remained steadfast. The newly liberated worlds, who had once been under the Council's heel, sent reinforcements, ships, weapons, and troops, all joining the fight for freedom. With their new allies, Earth launched a final, coordinated assault. The tide of the battle had shifted irrevocably. Alien ships that had once seemed invincible began to fall, one by one. The combined force of humanity and its newfound allies overwhelmed the remaining Council fleet. The aliens, now on the retreat, could no longer hold their ground. At long last, Earth had done it. The Galactic Council, once the most powerful force in the galaxy, had been shattered. The final remnants of the alien leadership fled into the unknown, their empire now nothing more than a shattered memory. As Earth's forces stood victorious, the galaxy began to change. No longer would humanity be seen as a fledgling species destined to be subjugated. The battle had proven that no force in the universe could crush the indomitable spirit of Earth. From this day forward, Earth would be a force to be reckoned with, standing as a beacon of resistance, strength, and hope for all the galaxy.